Hey there, I'm Bob Hall. I work for TIG Canada. I've been asked several times by different individuals about how it is that I was able to move from a model where I worked in the office 90% of the time to one where I work remotely. Those of you who know me know that for the last 30 years I've been in the IT industry, and as a result, most of my career has been spent in offices. I've worked for several large companies long before the whole concept of work from home was viable. I put into play in lots of organizations the ability for people to work from home, but I never took advantage of it myself. This whole COVID 19 virus situation has definitely played havoc on a lot of organizations, including the one that I work for, TIG Canada. We were fortunate that we leverage all the technology that we suggest as solutions to our customers, and as a result, for the last few years, we've been running VMware Horizon View, which is a remote desktop service that allows users to be able to access desktops that are located centrally on servers, either in the cloud or, in our case, inside of our infrastructure on servers. What that allows us to be able to do is a couple of things. One, all the desktops are backed up on a regular basis, which means that anytime a user loses a document or deletes something that they shouldn't have, we can quickly recover it from the backup. The other advantage is it's all maintained inside of our data center. We don't have to worry so much about end user compute, which means that when they're working from home or in a hotel or sitting at a library, they can access any particular computer that they want to in order to be able to get in and do the work that's necessary in order to complete the business day. With this, we were very quickly able to adapt to the restrictions from the provincial government that businesses needed to be able to provide a work from home mechanism for their employees. As a matter of fact, we went from being about 80% of our staff working in the office to only maybe 2 or 3 people at each location and on a regular basis. And they don't even have to be there if they choose not to be. How did we do this? Well, as I mentioned, we did it with VMware View, but we also put together a strategy to help people be able to work from home. I've put together my top list of things that I think are critical to every business to be successful with respect to allowing remote connectivity and the ability for your employees to be able to work from home. And I thought it would be nice to share this with you a little bit. The first thing that's really important about working from home is to make sure that you, as the individual, have a plan. Put down in paper what it is that you plan to do every single day, right at the start of the day. It's very important that you have a task list. It's no different than when you're in the office, but at home, there's a lot of different distractions. And by avoiding distractions, because we have a set list of what we're going to do, we are a lot more successful in what we can do. It's also important with respect to avoiding distractions that we set ground rules around the people that are at home. For example, in my household, my wife is at home during the day. It's important for her to know that from 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock every day, I'm working. There are some times when I'm not going to be in the office, or my home office as I like to call it, which, by the way, happens to be a bedroom on the second floor of our house that's been converted for me for a workspace. My wife knows that during coffee break, I'll be downstairs and we'll have a coffee together. And at lunchtime, we can do lunch together. And you know what? It's actually beneficial because when I was working in the office every day, I wasn't able to do that as frequently. So it's helped build a relationship with us as well. But if you have kids at home, you need to let the kids know the ground rules. This is your workspace, and while you're working, they just can't come in. And if they do need to come in, they need to make sure that you're not on a video call or you're not doing something that, a telephone call or creating a video like this one. The other piece that's important is that you get what you need. So in order to be successful when you're working from home, you need to have an environment that replicates what you would have in the office. In my case, I've got a couple of computers, I've got my iPad, I have a desk phone that I brought from the office. Get a whiteboard. Maybe have a backdrop so that you can be able to do videos like this if it's part of what you do. It's important that you speak to the management team and ensure that you have what you need to be successful. Any company that has remote workers will do everything they can to help you make your workspace the way that it'll be most efficient for you. The next thing that's important is getting FaceTime. It's really important that you spend time talking with other people. It could be on GoToMeeting, it could be on Skype or Zoom, maybe it'll be on FaceTime, but talk to people on a regular basis, especially those that you work with. Make sure that they know that you're there. Make sure that they know that you're working on things that perhaps they might be able to give guidance or suggestions on. But most importantly, on all of those calls and every interaction you have with your customers and your work associates and even your friends and family is be positive. This whole virus situation that we're into right now, it's scary. There's lots of media around about it. If you watch the news every day, you'll quickly become disappointed and sad about what's going on, and you need to stay positive. It's really important. You need to dedicate the workspace at home. As I mentioned in my case, it's a bedroom. Our daughter moved out and bought a new house and got married and abandoned us, so I was able to quickly put myself into my own workspace. But initially I wasn't, because we weren't sure how long this was going to take. My wife has a workshop that she uses for crafts and her own little side business, and I moved in there and took over, and it didn't work out so well because suddenly she was displaced, having worked down on the kitchen table. So, since it looks like this is going to be a much longer work from home scenario than I had anticipated, and in fact I'm kind of enjoying it, I took a different approach and made myself my own office. During the workday, it's really important that you schedule breaks. Now, for me, it's a little bit difficult because I wasn't used to doing that when I was in the office. Many of you guys go into the office every day, you take your 10 o'clock break, you take your lunchtime, you take a 3 o'clock break, and then you go home around 5. My day kind of blended all into one, and when I did take breaks, I typically did it at my desk. When you're at home, it's really important that you don't do that. Take the time to step away from your desk, from the people on calls, have your break, have your lunch, and end your day at 5 o'clock. In our case, in order to be able to accommodate that, I've gotten into a bit of a habit. I start my day typically around 8 a.m. By about 10 o'clock to 10:30, if I don't have any calls scheduled and I'm doing okay on my workload, I actually go out and go to Starbucks or to Tim Hortons and get my wife and I coffee, come back, spend a couple of minutes watching TV downstairs, playing with the dog, chatting with my wife, and then go back upstairs and start working again. The break is very good. At lunchtime, I do my best to try and ensure that there's nothing scheduled between 12 and 1 so that I can leave my home office, go downstairs and have some lunch. Spend that entire period. If you have a half an hour break, spend a half an hour. If you can do an hour, spend the hour. Stay away from work as long as you can. I don't even take my phone downstairs. I just leave it up here, and that way if it rings, I can ignore it. Participating in meetings is really important, okay? When you're working from home, there's a couple of key things to remember. One is, it's not like a boardroom. You can't show up late and everybody will get a chuckle out of it. When you show up late on a conference call or a video call, it's disruptive for 2 reasons. One, either the people who are participating in the meeting have to wait for you to arrive, or 2, when you do arrive on a conference call, quite often it announces who you are. Even if you don't record your name, it still gives a beep, and that distracts whoever may be speaking. On a video call, the same thing is the case. When you log in late to a conference call, where there's video involved, it suddenly changes the dynamics of the screen that everybody's looking at, and you become the center of the highlight during the login process, something you probably don't want to do when you're a little bit late. And the other thing is, when you're there on the calls and in the videos, make sure you speak. It's always important to let everybody know that you're there, you're paying attention, and that you have content. It is critical to make sure that you participate in any type of meetings that are there, and the best thing to do is over communicate. Let everybody know what's going on. Let everybody know that you're part of the game, part of the process, and you're there to help with suggestions. And the last thing that I want to tell you about is what to do at the end of the day, and that is turn it off. Now, I'm the worst because many years of working in the IT industry, I don't get my work done during the day. I come home, have dinner, spend some time with the family. When my kids were younger, the rule was until they went to bed, I never logged back into work again. Kids are gone now, so now what happens is I come home, have dinner with my wife, we sit on the couch, do a little bit of work, and the next thing you know, I'm logged in, and while the TV's on, I'm busy working until it's time to go to bed. Please don't do that. learn how not to do that. It has got to be the biggest single piece of advice that I can give you. Now in the background behind me, you can see that I've created a quick little sheet that I call my 10 tips for working from home cheat sheet. If you're interested in getting this sheet, please don't be afraid to reach out to me. My email address is bob.hall@tig.com, and I'd be thrilled to send it to you so that you can print it out and have it hanging on your wall as part of your home office setup. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day.